In Sherlock The Abominable Bride, Sherlock finally finds love. Isn't she beautiful? Sherlock The Abominable Bride is a Christmas special for the BBC series Sherlock. It's a Christmas special really in name only, as it has nothing to do with the holiday. It once again stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes and Martin Freeman as Dr. John Watson, as they investigate a murderous bride that seems to have come back from the dead. For those not familiar with the show, it is a modern retelling of Sherlock Holmes that takes place in present day. The Christmas special, however, takes place in what we're used to seeing Sherlock in, Victorian times. The Victorian setting adds a great and creepy atmosphere to the episode. It kind of reminds me of The Hounds of Baskerville in overall tone. Probably the high point of the show is Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman as Holmes and Watson. They're once again great, they have great chemistry, and if you watch the BBC show, you wouldn't be surprised at all that I'm saying that. It's interesting to see their take of the characters in the Victorian setting. If you haven't checked out the regular BBC series Sherlock, you definitely should, and you should before you watch this. It's the best interpretation of Sherlock that I've seen on either the small or big screen. There are currently 3 series of the show, and they're all available on Netflix. Each series consists of 3 episodes that are each an hour and a half long, so it's kind of like a trilogy of movies each season. Being that this episode is not in the normal continuity of Sherlock, it allows them to do some fun things with the characters. I really like what they did, especially what they did with Molly and Mycroft. What they did with Mycroft for the episode kind of bothered me at first, but as it went along, it got better and then became justified, which made the whole thing more satisfying and kind of funny. The overall mystery of the episode is very interesting, but cracks start to appear about halfway through in it. And by the 3rd act, it almost falls apart entirely. What they tried with it undermined the entire story, and it made it feel so much less satisfying than if they did just something more kind of straightforward. On certain levels, it feels kind of Inception-like. But again, Cumberbatch and Freeman are great as Holmes and Watson. Their relationship is really what holds the show together. Their chemistry is great as always. The mystery, again, what they did with the mystery, it undermines it, and it makes it feel very kind of unsatisfying. And really keeps it from being a truly great special. With that being said, it's still worth a watch, and it does what it's meant to do, which is hold you over until Series 4. Sherlock The Abominable Bride is rated B-. Being that Sherlock The Abominable Bride is technically a Christmas special, what's your favorite Christmas special of a regular TV series? And because I'm saying regular TV series, this would rule out The Grinch Stole Christmas, Rudolph, Charlie Brown, all of those. Mine is Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. It's the premiere episode of The Simpsons back in 1989 and holds up great today. It's funny, heartwarming, and it introduces Santa's Little Helper. So again, what's your favorite Christmas special of a regular TV series? Make your mark below in the comments section. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Alright, I'm going to talk about some spoilers now, so if you haven't seen The Abominable Bride, either turn the video off, or better yet, just mute it until the spoiler tag here is gone. Alright, still with me? Okay. It was marketed as a standalone episode that took place in Victorian times, but it isn't. About halfway through, some weird stuff starts to happen, and then it goes completely into modern day for several minutes, and that just kind of ruined it. They did that even before the mystery was solved entirely, which really undermined it. And then at the end of it, because it wasn't an all-enclosed story, and it's part of the bigger series, it just makes you seem like you went nowhere. It was just Sherlock kind of talking to himself, essentially, in his head about whether Moriarty's alive or not, and it doesn't progress the story, which wouldn't have made a fucking difference at all, and it wouldn't have mattered, you wouldn't have cared if it was the standalone episode it should have been. But because it wasn't a complete standalone, and they tied it in with the modern times part of the entire series, then it just makes it seem like a waste. If they had kept it all behind and it had one just enclosed story, that would have been great. Even if he did it in his head and it was all one enclosed story and you wanted to reference that like for a second at the end, I could get that. Or if you want to reference it sometime in series 4, I would be behind that. But doing what they did in this episode just, again, undermines it. That's my big problem. So in series 4 of Sherlock, there's talk of doing a Doctor Who crossover. Now, I've never watched an episode of Doctor Who, so I can't state whether or not that'd be good. I'd lean towards the kind of not be good for the main thing that Doctor Who is very sci-fi and Sherlock is not. But anyway, a good crossover I think would be pretty cool if they did Dexter with Sherlock. Either have Dexter somehow wind up in London or Sherlock go to Miami or something. I think probably better keep Sherlock in London, have Dexter come to London, and just see Sherlock size him up instantly, and Dexter's pretty smart on his own, so to see how that would kind of go back and forth, the mind games they would play with each other would be pretty interesting, and I think that would be a good crossover. Sherlock Holmes and Benedict